Coming up on today's show, Lucid Motors holds a lavish launch event at its new Casa Grande production facility as the first customers' Lucid Air sedans roll off the production lines. Ford announces the Blue Oval City in Tennessee and the Blue Oval SK in Kentucky as it focuses on an all-electric future. And the UK government wants to take over control of citizens' EV charging stations over fears that the grid won't cope with an all-electric fleet. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks to everyone who came up and said hello to myself and Winter this week when we were at the Lucid launch event in Casa Grande, Arizona. It was lovely to meet you all. This show is sponsored by the Electric Auto Association. Stick around until the end of the show to find out how joining the EAA can help you finance your own clean energy or transportation purchase. We start today with the official start of production of the Lucid Air sedan at its Casa Grande production facility in Arizona. It was celebrated in style with a launch event at the same. Aside from getting a tour of the powertrain and battery assembly lines, one we were sadly not allowed to film during, we were also given a chance to see Lucid's vehicle production line in action at its AMP1 factory, as well as interview some of the Lucid team and, more importantly, drive a Lucid Air Dream Edition range. While I don't want to preempt the videos we're preparing for this channel from the event, I can tell you that the Lucid Air Dream Edition range is still very quick, very refined, and while Winter and I are split on if it's worth the sticker price, we're both in agreement that this is a car you'll want to add to your test drive list if you're in the market for a high-end electric sedan. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that bell, and hopefully you'll see a full in-depth video from us next week. As we covered last week on this show, Tesla has now flipped the switch on full self-driving beta, allowing customers who paid for full self-driving to gain access to the full self-driving public beta program. Rather than grant immediate access, Tesla is first examining the last week's worth of driving to check that customers are considered safe enough to be trusted with FSD Beta, which is maybe why a number of you have noted that a large number of Teslas now seem to be driving a lot more carefully than they were the week before, as owners behave themselves to gain access. Interestingly though, as Drag Times found out this week, getting that all-important good score from Tesla needed to activate FSD Beta isn't exactly about driving safely. It's possible to speed, run red lights and not use your turn signals and still be given a good score. But turn too sharply, brake too harshly, or follow someone too closely, and your score goes way down. I'll refrain from passing judgment, but I will remind you it is just beta software. After an eternity of teasing, Hyundai Kia's luxury marque, Genesis, has officially revealed the GV60 EV, a vehicle which shares the same eGMP platform with the Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6. Thanks to previously released images, we've known for a while what it would look like, but this week's live YouTube premiere told us a little more about the car, such as the fact it will only come with a larger 77.4 kWh battery pack offered by the eGMP platform. It will be available with either rear or all-wheel drive, offering 168 kilowatts and 234 kilowatts respectively, with the range-topping performance variant offering a sprint time of 4 seconds flat. It also gets the same 350 kilowatt DC quick charging system as the rest of the eGMP-based EVs that are coming to market. But it also gets a fake engine noise that can be customised a little by the driver. We're hoping to get a drive, and when we do, we'll share. It's the start of October, which according to some of you commenting on our videos, means that the Lordstown Endurance is now in production. Something we highly doubt, as the company has said zip on the matter since promising it would begin production in September. But this week we did hear something else though, that Lordstown has reached an agreement in principle to work on scalable electric vehicle programs at its assembly plant with Foxconn. It would include Foxconn purchasing the facility for $230 million from Lordstown and would see Foxconn build the Lordstown Endurance, which kind of proves my point that it's not in production yet, as well as open up the possibility that Foxconn would use the facility to build vehicles for Fisker. However, while certain news outlets have been getting very excited about this news, especially given the various stock sales promised by the same, I should note that this is a non-binding agreement. That means it's worth less than the paper it's written on should any parties involved have second, or indeed third, thoughts. At the start of the week, Ford held an online press conference to announce construction of what it's calling the Blue Oval City, a 6-square-mile factory complex in western Tennessee where it will build next-generation electric F-Series pickups and EV battery packs for both future F-Series pickups and Lincoln vehicles. At the same time, it announced 3 new battery production facilities, 2 in Kentucky and 1 in Tennessee, where it will manufacture 129 gigawatt-hours of EV batteries every year in partnership with SK Innovation. In total, more than $11.4 billion will be invested by both companies, with Ford's share totaling $7 billion. An estimated 11,000 jobs will be generated through the new facilities, as well as promised future jobs created by Ford, as it invests $525 million to train dealership technicians to service EVs across the US. Ford is targeting all locations to be operational by 2025, which is when the next generation F-150 electric and other trucks are expected to launch. We've been closely following the passage of the Nio ES8 from its home market of China to Europe. And this week, Nio celebrated the start of official ES8 deliveries in Norway by opening its first Nio House outside of China. Located in Oslo, the Nio House Oslo is a 2-story building that's split between a sales area and a cafe, a forum, living room, lab, and what Nio calls a joy camp. As part of the launch, Nio also launched its battery as a service program. Rather than buy the car outright with a battery pack included, Nio customers can choose to lease the battery instead through Nio's BAAS program. This will make it possible for owners to make use of one of 20 power swap stations Nio has planned across Norway by the end of next year. These stations, which will be based on the company's second-generation battery swap station tech, will be located throughout the nation, with the northernmost stations well within the Arctic Circle. As confirmed by several Ford engineers in interviews this past month or so, Ford is now indeed making some tweaks to the 2022 model year Mustang Mach E to increase the capabilities of Ford's all-electric SUV. As usual for most automakers, there are some tweaks to paint options, but what really captures our attention is the increase in usable battery capacity for each model. While the actual nominal battery pack capacity of the 2 options offered by Ford haven't changed, the usable capacity for the same has increased from 68 kilowatt-hours in the standard range to 70 kilowatt-hours for the 2022 model year, and from 88 kilowatt-hours in the extended range from last year to 91 kilowatt-hours in next. This should mean a modest increase in range on battery capacity alone, but rumours also suggest changes in cooling and HVAC, as well as maybe some software tweaks, could make that modest range increase much more noticeable. When we have more info, we'll share. Swedish performance brand Polestar surprised everyone this week when it announced it was entering the stock market via a reverse merger with a special purpose acquisition company, or SPAC. In the automotive world, SPACs have traditionally been the preserve of cash-strapped startups trying to raise funds to actually bring a vehicle to market. But as I'm sure you know, Polestar, like Volvo, the brand it spun off from, are both owned by Geelee. Yet with 10,000 deliveries under its belt from last year alone, and plans to bring 3 new models to market over the next few years, it seems the merger gives Polestar access to a significant amount of cash. The deal puts the value of Polestar at $20 billion and says Polestar's team means it can accelerate its plans to bring its take on sustainability mobility to more people around the world. The UK has stated multiple times in recent months that it wants citizens to dump the pump and go all electric, but this week we learned of a new law that could put the kibosh on that completely. While the UK government has an ambitious goal to ban new ICE car sales by 2030, it now wants to mandate that all new EV charging stations installed after May 30th next year must be smart chargers connected to the internet. Why is this? Well, the government wants to be able to turn off EV charging stations during peak demand periods, as well as restrict the use of EV charging during traditional peak hours. In addition, it wants to impose randomised delays of 30 minutes to prevent grid spikes, although it does say that users will be able to override preset lockouts if they really need to. Only the UK government could spend millions in mandating a nonsensical rule like this, rather than just investing in upgrading the grid and deploying decentralised microgrid technology. As my kids would say, SMH. And now it's time for short shorts. General Motors' electric van spin-off Brightdrop has begun small-scale production of its first delivery van, the EV600 delivery vehicle, as well as announced a smaller e-van called the EV410. It's already signed a deal to supply the latter to Verizon. The Ford Mustang Mach E has spectacularly failed the iconic Moose test, failing to keep its rear end from fishtailing out when executing the high-speed swerve. The Tesla Model Y and Hyundai Ioniq 5, meanwhile, passed with flying colours. Tata Motors has just sold its 10,000th EV, sales of which are split between the original Tigor EV, Nexon EV, Tigor EV Ziptron and Express T EV. The latter, unfortunately, we incorrectly called the first EV from the company last week when we should have said the first commercial-oriented EV from Tata. We're sorry for that mistake. Rolls-Royce did something we've never seen before this week, held an event to announce a new car that didn't actually include the new car. The vehicle in question, the Rolls-Royce Prophecy, is the first all-electric model from the brand and will come to market in 2023. A self-imposed fuel shortage in the UK, caused by Brexit and a lack of forward planning on the government's part, means that interest in EVs has soared a massive amount this week. It's a silver lining to an otherwise pants situation. ABB has announced what it claims is the world's fastest charging station for EVs. Called the Terra 360, it's a 4-head charging unit that can dynamically charge up to 4 EVs at once, and claims a 15-minute charge time for any EV. But the press release conveniently misses the fact that the EV being charged has to support 360 kilowatt charging to achieve that feat. Tesla has officially applied to trademark the Cyberquad name for use on apparel, having already trademarked the same name for use as a vehicle. It suggests new Tesla clothes are on the way, featuring the angular electric ATV debuted at the Cybertruck reveal. The Central California Asthma Collaborative has established a new set of partnerships with community-based organizations and the Clean Vehicle Empowerment Collaborative to bring EVs to low-income families in rural Central California. UK insurance specialists Compare the Market have announced that electric vehicles are now cheaper to insure than petrol or diesel-powered ones. On average, customers stand to save £45 on annual premiums by going electric. Simples. After years of asking Tesla to implement Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on its vehicles, Tesla owners will be happy to know that you can now get Android Auto on a Tesla. It works using a workaround in the Tesla browser. Find out more at androidwheels.com. Chinese automaker Geelee, which as you know owns Volvo and Polestar among other brands, wants to build 5,000 battery swapping stations across the People's Republic of China by 2025. It has the money to make it happen. A Tesla Model S P100D caught fire in Georgia this week, which isn't big news considering how many ICE vehicles catch fire every day. But what was news was the way that firefighters propped up the car on blocks to enable them to spray water on the pack from underneath. That's smart. The Cupra Born, the sportier styled, angrier sibling of the Volkswagen ID3, has entered into production at the same facility in Germany where the ID3 and ID4 are made. Expect deliveries to start in the next few months. Rumours suggest that Tesla's GigaBerlin will soon be given its final approval, meaning it can soon begin to start preparing to build cars there. But there are rumours of strict conditions regarding water use and accident preparedness in order for the OK to be given. As part of its massive announcement this week to build new production and battery facilities to support its transition to electric vehicles, Ford has announced it secured a $15.5 billion revolving credit line in order to help it achieve its EV goals. Just like Portal's AI GLaDOS, Nikola Motors remains still alive, and this week announced a $300 million share sale that will give it extra pennies. At the same time, it's announced a deal to build hydrogen fueling stations across the US. UK-based Vertical Airspace has announced a new partnership with Japanese trading company Marubeni to bring its VA-X4 electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft to Japan. It hopes to start commercial operations there by 2025. Tesla has gone on the offensive in China, reportedly suing 2 former customers for defamation after said former customers made inflammatory comments about the brand. The argument stems from allegedly faulty Teslas purchased by those former customers. Subaru has published its first video of its upcoming Solterra EV in motion. The video feels very old school and focuses on the eco-credentials of driving electric rather than showcasing the car's actual capabilities. It feels very 2010. Well, Tesla does operate a non-disclosure agreement for its full self-driving beta test participants. Elon Musk came out this week and said that Tesla shouldn't have an NDA. This contradicts Tesla's own advice to FSD testers, saying that they should share their experiences selectively as many people, quote, want Tesla to fail. Swedish electric motorcycle company Cake has been impressing the EV world with its range of affordable practical two-wheelers for some time. But this week it managed to secure an additional $60 million worth of funding. It will help Cake expand its sales and service. Mumbai's Transportation Authority has invited tenders for a 1,900-strong fleet of fully electric buses for the city's roads. Right now, it owns 386 electric buses, but it wants to go fully electric in the near future. Tesla is being sued by 5 police officers in Texas after a Model X piloted by a drunk driver and operating in autopilot mode smashed into them while they were carrying out a traffic stop earlier this year. This is going to be a very interesting case to follow in terms of precedent. As part of its newfound interest in electric cars, Russia is executing an experiment due to start next year, which will see EV drivers gain free access to toll roads. It's hoped that not paying for toll roads will encourage more people to go electric. 5 US states, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota and Wisconsin, have joined forces to build a new network for EV charging. The network would be called REV Midwest, and frankly, it would be good to see more EV charging in all of those states. Tesla-certified repair shops are accusing Tesla of trying to poach Tesla-trained staff. While they have an NDA preventing them from talking about the program, one shop published an email from Tesla stating it's looking to hire third-party Tesla-certified techs. The Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe has officially debuted, replacing the usual drivetrain with a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, a pair of electric motors, and a claimed 25-mile all-electric range. We say it's time for an all-electric one instead. Wuling, the company behind China's most popular EV, has just launched a Disney Zootopia-themed limited edition of the Wuling Nano EV, the smaller sibling to the Hongguan Mini EV. What do I think? I think it's called a hustle, sweetheart. And those are your short shorts. There will be more next week. The electric vehicle world really has grown massively in the last few years, and one area of expansion we've been unable to ignore is the incredible impact that two-wheelers are having on the market. This week, just after it launched its first electric scooter and reported selling 4 per minute at launch, Indian mobility specialist Ola has just raised $200 million through a brand new funding round. Combined with the $150 million in revenue it just raised by selling all those Ola S1 and Ola S1 Pros to eager customers, this means that Ola has plenty of funds to expand its production facilities and continue development on an electric car it's reportedly working on. With a new investment on board, the company is now valued at an impressive $3 billion. That's not bad for a company that's only just launched its first electric vehicle. And finally, Tesla's decision to transition away from using third-party battery suppliers to building at least some of its battery cells and packs in-house at Giga Nevada is one that's paid dividends time and time again in the last few years. And while other automakers have been struggling to source enough battery packs for their electric vehicles, Tesla's forward thinking has meant that it hasn't faced anywhere near the battery cell restrictions as other companies. Right now, Tesla uses Giga Nevada to produce 2170 form factor cells for its Model 3 and Model Y, as well as for use in its various static energy products. And this week, we learned that in September, Tesla celebrated constructing its 1 millionth battery pack. The special pack, signed by everyone at the facility, is a fantastic achievement and showcases just how much an important part Tesla has played in shaping the EV landscape of today. Well done, everyone, indeed. And on that note, we are done for the day. But before I go, I would like to thank the Electric Auto Association for sponsoring today's Roundup show. They've been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EAA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a new clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EAA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that bell, and doing the same to our 2 other channels. That's Transport Evolved Take 2 and Transport Evolved Shorts. We'd also love you to support us through Patreon or Ko-fi if you're so inclined. We are raising funds to hire a video editor, and don't forget that you can buy your own TE swag at our Redbubble store. We'll leave the link below. And if you're feeling chatty, don't forget to drop by our free-to-join Discord chat room. I or someone else from the team will be back soon with more video goodness, but until next time, thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving!